Hi, this is Diogo Portela, and you're listening to Josh Dartistry.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a very, very warm welcome back to the Josh's Dartistry podcast. We are on episode 16 of the JDP, and it's great to be back round the table with good friends. On my right-hand side, of course, first of all, Mr. Josh Gorton. How are you, Josh?
Very good, thank you, John. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Obviously, Josh, we've had a whirlwind, haven't we, the last few weeks, and it all culminated a couple of days ago now for finals night at the O2 for the Premier League, didn't it?
Yeah, I've been really busy. I've been at Sky the last couple of weeks, obviously building up to finals night, looking at the last week of action in Leeds. So yeah, a bit of a disappointing ending, I think, on finals night itself. But what a Premier League season it's been! So many twists and turns. Absolutely,
and we will be discussing that in full. Of course, we will. We'll probably open the show with that. But let's not forget the man on my left, stats man himself. It's Mr. Neil Connor. How are you, Neil?
I'm good, John. How are you?
I'm okay. Now, since we last recorded, obviously we need to get to the nub of the matter. You and I, our teams will respectively be facing off on the 1st of June in Madrid, Liverpool Football Club versus Tottenham Hotspur Football Club in the Champions League final.
Indeed, and perhaps the world will end on the 2nd of July. There are flights booked out.
Is our friendship going to survive?
I think I've said to you before, every facet of my life could unravel after that game. So it's a nightmare scenario because we're expected to win. It'd be great if we do, but for you, it will be you've probably already settled for what you've done.
Well, to get listen, I'm over the moon to get to the final, and no one backed us to get to the Champions League final at all. It's been a phenomenal competition for us. I can't not take my hat off, however, to Liverpool for the Barcelona result, not just for beating them 4-0 and turning around the first leg deficit, but a 4-0 win against Barcelona at any time in any competition is absolutely incredible, and you have to take your hat off to Liverpool for that.
Yeah, and that was without Salah and Firmino as well, so even better.
Josh, I'm sorry, you probably feel left out in this conversation. Neil and I discussing the Champions League.
We're in our own European final, John. Don't be elitist.
Well,
however,
not really,
because it's in Azerbaijan. Yeah. I think it's still on the Thursday, so it's still not Wednesday night football, Josh.
I'm used to Thursday night. There's nothing wrong with a bit of Thursday night football.
Fancy your chances against Chelsea, Josh?
I think we've got a decent chance. Yeah, I think if Hazard turns up, we're in trouble. I mean, he's that good.
You told me 3-0. You were quite confident on the way up.
Don't be silly. No, I think Chelsea probably got the better players, but I think Emery has got the better of Sarri in the two games we played against Chelsea tactically. So we'll have to wait and see. But they're a great team. We'll just have to see. But I'm quietly confident.
Great team, really?
They came third in the Premier League. They've got some great players.
One of the also-rans, though, wasn't it?
Very, very elitist.
Listen, let's move it on from football. We are here to discuss darts, gentlemen. As I mentioned, of course, we'll bring you all the latest chat from the Premier League. But Neil, shortly after that, we are going to be having a look at the odds for the upcoming, of course, the World Cup of Darts. Josh, one of your favourite tournaments.
I do indeed love
and of course, Neil, you'll be bringing us the latest odds ahead of that tournament, won't you?
Yeah, I will. I've got the odds for the World Cup of Darts, and I think we'll have another look at the World Championship odds to see how that's been impacted by the Premier League.
Excellent. Look forward to that. Josh, you always bring us a really good interview for the show, and this week I believe you've managed to get hold of one of the stars who will be taking part in the World Cup.
Yep, Diogo Portela, Brazil World Cup captain, making his third successive World Cup appearance this year. I had a chat with Diogo earlier in the week. Really interesting stuff. So yep, look forward to that.
Outside of the big major tournaments, Josh, we'll also take a brief look, won't we, at the Players' Championship and the European Darts Tour.
Yep, of course, obviously a busy period on the Pro Tour. We've had 4 Players' Championship events since we last recorded, and also 3 European Tour events. We've got another one happening in Zwolle in Holland at the moment, the Dutch Darts Masters. So I'll be bringing you all the results from those.
Is that how you pronounce it? Is it not Zwolle?
Zwolle. Well, it might be.
No, there's a football team I've never really understood.
FC Zwolle.
Yeah.
Could be that. Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, of course, we will be bringing you Challenge Josh, where we like to test Josh's powers of darting knowledge. Neil, I believe you're going to mix it up slightly for us this week, and you've got something a little bit different planned from the normal.
Yeah, we're gonna change the format slightly to see how. I think over recent weeks he's probably not performed as well as he could do. So we're going to give him a bit more of a chance this week and make it a bit more interesting.
But I do like that. He's probably got into the comfort zone a little bit too much in terms of the flow. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to turn it on its head and shake him upside down, see what falls out of his pockets and take it from there. So look forward to that. Josh, a few news items we've got to discuss, haven't we? Things that have been happening in and around the world of darts.
Yeah, we've got a bit of news about James Wade and a potential DRA fine. Also, the World Cup of Darts draw, bringing you all the latest on that, and hopefully all the representatives for the World Cup.
Cool. And then, as ever, we'll conclude the show with our Q&A section, Josh's Twitter chatter. Josh, you had one or two questions coming in via social media?
Yeah, people are a little bit quiet. I think the bank holiday weekend, they're lazing around, not really getting on Twitter. I've only had one or two questions, but we'll be answering them later on the show.
Sticking the knife into the listeners, Neil, and popping them off for not getting in touch with their questions.
Never a wise thing to do.
It's a wake-up call, a rallying cry, I'm saying.
Listen, you don't want the crows to circle and descend upon you. Poor old Theresa May's found herself out on her ear this morning. You could be going the same way if you carry on with this attitude, Josh, towards the listeners.
Oh dear! Don't even get me going on politics, please.
Yeah, and that will then, of course, conclude our podcast for episode 16. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as ever, thank you for taking the time to download the show. Your support is always greatly appreciated. You can check us out on social media, on Twitter, look up at Josh's Dartistry. Check out Josh's Facebook page. You can also log on to Josh's website, www.joshisdartistry.com. Josh did a few articles go up on the website over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy at work, so I haven't been able to dedicate as much time to my website as I'd liked. But obviously, a bit of a quieter period coming up now. So yeah, a few bits and pieces gone up.
Excellent, Neil. If you are an Apple user, where can you download the Josh's Dartistry podcast?
You can get that on iTunes, John.
And Josh, if you are an Android user, where would you go for the Josh's Dartistry podcast?
You will go on Stitcher for that one.
Absolutely, and you can always download the show from Josh's website. There's always a streaming media player on the website, and we always upload, of course, a video version of the show to Josh's YouTube account. So all the places you can check us out. In the coming months, we might be looking at expanding and going to a couple of other platforms. I've just sprung that on you, YouTube boys. Haven't discussed that with you yet, but there might be a couple of other options of where we can get the show uploaded to, and we'll keep you posted with that. Just so there's as many platforms as possible for you guys to check us out. So yeah, check us out on social media. Thanks for downloading the show, and here we go, episode 16. Enjoy the show.
I feel happy, won't you call me on the telephone? In the morning, won't you call me on the telephone?
Call the boys on 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329 and leave them a message.
Okay, folks, gents, let's get straight into it. Josh, Premier League. So last time we recorded, we had a little chat about what was coming up. We've had night 13 in Birmingham. We've had night 14 in Manchester. We've had night 15 in Sheffield. The final regular round before the finals was night 16 in Leeds. How did things look in the league table after we'd completed Leeds?
Well, going into Leeds, Michael van Gerwen and Rob Cross were assured of their playoff spots.
Yeah.
There were 4 players going for the remaining 2 spots, and they were James Wade, Mensah Suljovic, Daryl Gurney and Gerwin Price. Now, Gerwin Price took on Peter Wright in the opening match of the night. He needed to beat Peter Wright to stay in contention. He did so. He beat Peter Wright 8-3. He then was relying on Daryl Gurney to lose or draw against Michael Smith, which he didn't. Daryl Gurney played really well, won 8-3. That put Gurney in the box seat to qualify for the O2. Mensah Suljovic faced Michael van Gerwen. Mensah needed to win against van Gerwen to keep his hopes alive. He did not. Michael van Gerwen ran out an 8-5 winner. And the last match of the night was a bit of a dead rubber, really. James Wade was already assured of his playoff spot after the loss for Mensah. Rob Cross, if he'd have beaten Wade, would have topped the table, but he didn't. Wade turned the tables on him, beat him 8-6. So for the 7th straight year, Michael van Gerwen topped the table.
Neil, it was nice going into night 16 that it wasn't a complete dead rubber night. There was still a lot to play for quite a few players. I know Cross and MVG had obviously secured their path to finals night, but it was nice that there was still quite a few things riding on it for night 16.
Yeah, it made it interesting, and I think on the last episode I mentioned that I didn't really fancy Daryl Gurney to make it, and I think he's rattled off 3 wins and a draw in his last 4 games. So fair play to him. But yeah, as you say, you want it to be as tight as possible. You want to see the matches that are deciders, and I think even the ones that missed out in terms of Silovic and Gerwin Price. If you go back a year and you look at their performances, where I think they were 9th and 10th in the table, it's a significant improvement that they're playing for for a place on finals night.
Josh, just before we discuss what went on in finals night, let's have a look at the bottom 4 who didn't quite make it. Tell me about Gerwin Price's Premier League overall. What do you make of his performance this year?
I was very impressed with Price this year. Obviously, Neil mentioned he had a horrible time last year, got 2 points from 9 games and was eliminated. It's been tough for him. He's had the crowd on his back every single week, and it takes its toll, it really does, but he's dealt with it very well. I think the only regret for him will be a lot of missed opportunities. I think early on, he had draws with Luke Humphreys and Barney. He was leading them and slipped up, got a draw, should have been a win. Rob Cross, I think a few weeks ago, he's beaten Rob Cross and missed a couple of match darts. Their 3 points I've just reeled off there. Those 3 points would have seen him finish 3rd. So he had his chances, but he's improved remarkably over the last 12 months.
He has, and I think he'll continue to improve. He's still a relative newcomer to the game.
Yeah.
And he's young, and I think he'll get better and better, and I think he should be quite happy with his performance.
Neil, finishing in 6th place was Mensur Suljovic, managing to win 7 games this year, and a marked improvement on his performance last year in his first ever Premier League.
Yeah, to be fair to him, he was actually very unlucky last year. He had a lot of close games where he was edged out. And I think he was, as I say, very unfortunate to drop into the bottom 2. I'd be interested to look at his stats this year versus last year to see how different they are, because
his average was down. His tournament average was down this year.
I'm not surprised, because he played really, really well last year. But I think players have said in the past the Premier League takes some getting used to, and whereas he may not have racked up the numbers that he did last year, maybe he's got a bit more know-how about how to turn close games into victories or draws.
Josh, for me, 2 of the most disappointing performers of the entire Premier League season, possibly more so than even Raymond van Barneveld. With Barney, not really in great form. I was more disappointed with the failure of Michael Smith and Peter Wright to really sort of dig their heels in and finish a little bit further up the league table for me.
Yeah, Neil mentions Mensur Suljovic last year Mensur had a higher average, but obviously it's done far better points-wise. It's been the opposite for Smith, really. He actually had a lower tournament average last year and finished 2nd. Yet this year he finishes 7th. It's just been missed doubles. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's scored really, really well. He's got his power scoring back. But he's just lacking any conviction on the doubles, and he's referenced that. And obviously, at the Premier League level, if you miss key doubles, you're going to get found out, and that's been the issue. But for Peter Wright, as you mentioned, he's just been so inconsistent. He's had a couple of good performances, thrown in with a couple of woeful games, and you just can't afford to do that at this level.
I think with Smith, you're possibly seeing a reaction to what was a brilliant year last year. Culminating in finishing runner-up at the World Championship. So to lift yourself and go again is not always easy. He had a disruptive first few weeks anyway, because he had the injury to his leg. So, and I think sometimes when you get off to a bad start, it kind of becomes set in stone that you can't recover from that. So I'm sure he'll bounce back next year and put in a far more positive performance in terms of points.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter that Smith posted a message saying that, thanks for all the support this year, and he can guarantee his fans that next year he's going to come back stronger and work harder and try and, sort of place himself a little bit higher up the league table. It was fairly akin to the message he posted on Twitter, Josh, when he lost the final of the Worlds this year. He posted quite an emotional tweet, and, at that point it was very raw, and he was saying he felt he let people down and this, that and the other. But, Michael's not afraid to sort of, put his emotions out there and how he's feeling, and not that he needs to apologise to the fans. Of course he doesn't. He's a lovely guy, comes across very well, and an absolutely fantastic darts player. But you can see it means the world to him to perform for his friends, his family, and of course his fans, Josh.
I think that's why he's got so many fans and so many supporters, John. He's very honest. He doesn't make excuses for himself if he underperforms. I think he's been a little bit hard on himself. He's not been playing badly. He just needs a bit of luck, a bit of rub of the green. If he starts hitting his doubles again, he's going to be a force. And I think his form is gradually coming back. I mean, his averages in the second half of the season were far greater than the first half. So the signs are promising for Michael Smith.
And for me, Josh, James Wade finishing in the top four. Self-confessed James Wade fan, absolutely delighted to see him finish third in the table and have a pretty good Premier League season with some crucial wins along the way.
Very good, John. It's the first time James have reached the playoffs since 2013, so that just demonstrates his improvement. He's always been a clinical match player, someone who can take opportunities, but his game's evolved this year. He's scored much better, put the higher averages in, and out the three semi-finals, he had the best head-to-head record. He'd beaten Van Gerwen, Cross and Gurney. So fair play to James Wade, very good campaign.
Okay, well, that's how the league table finished. Let's move it on to finals night. Before we discuss the darting action itself, Neil, we've discussed this on the show before, the venue, the O2. What did you make of the atmosphere for finals night?
It seemed a bit dead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've been there before,
I have
haven't
been,
you?
and I'm not a fan, to be honest. It's too
vast,
I think
isn't
it is too big for a darting venue, if I'm honest. I don't know whether because the games they all kind of ran away in all three games really, whether that had an impact on the atmosphere, but it just seemed a bit dead. I prefer a much smaller arena for the final, if I'm honest.
Josh, you were obviously working that night for Sky Sports with the Premier League. What did you make of the event and the arena and the atmosphere?
I think it's kind of feast or famine with the O2. I've been there twice, and one night it was absolutely rocking. I think it was the night Michael van Gerwen won his first Premier League in 2013.
Yeah. Then
I went a couple of years ago, and the games were again quite one-sided. I think Van Gerwen beat Taylor 11-3 in the final, and it wasn't very atmospheric. It was quite deflated, quite a flat atmosphere. So
yeah, so I think the games obviously have a big...
They dictate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like any sport, isn't it? That when there's a close contest going on, then there's a lot of interest, and yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the darts itself then. Josh, we opened up the first semi-final was, of course, Michael van Gerwen versus Daryl Gurney.
Yeah, a bit of an intriguing one, this, because obviously Michael van Gerwen topped the league, but in Daryl Gurney, he was facing a man who'd beaten him twice in the league phase, and Gurney had actually beaten him 3 times in a row on TV. So, a scrappy game, this one. The first 10 legs all went with throw. Gurney got the first break, went 6-5 up, then missed 6 darts to go 7-5. That was a key turning point. And Van Gerwen ran out a 10-7 winner, despite only averaging 96. So, a missed opportunity for Gurney, but a very good campaign for Super Chin.
Neil, what did you make of Gurney's performance in the semi-final?
I was disappointed, to be honest, because he had these 2 previous victories. Make no bones about it, I wanted him to win. So we see something a little bit different. So I was a bit disappointed. And even afterwards, you see the interviews and it's all laughing and joking. It's almost like, well, I've been beaten by the world number 1. What can I do? So, to be fair to Gurney, terrific run to make the semi-finals, but maybe the energy consumed in putting that run together to just make it into the top 4 took the edge off his game from Thursday night.
Josh, in the press room afterwards, when Gurney was interviewed, I think he said he wasn't going to watch the semi-final or the final, was he?
No, awfully bitterly disappointed. I mean, Neil mentioned there he was laughing and joking. I think that was more of a kind of trying to save face, more of a bravado. He'd have been very disappointed, Gurney, because he knows it was a great opportunity. Van Gerwen wasn't playing particularly well, was struggling throughout the game, and I think Gurney referenced it. They both tried too hard almost, and sometimes the harder you try, the worse it gets. Okay,
Josh, the previous week in Leeds, we saw James Wade beat Rob Cross 8-6. Was he able to perform the same feat in the semi-final?
He was not, John, no. And I mean, obviously Rob Cross finished above James Wade in the table, but interestingly, a lot of people were tipping Wade to beat Cross and face Van Gerwen in the final.
I had money on it.
To be fair, Wade started well. I think he was 3-1 up, averaging over a ton, and just suddenly lost his rhythm completely. I mean, Cross played well, to be fair to him. He averaged over 100, took out a couple of really important finishes, 3-ton pluses in fact. But Wade's rhythm wasn't there. He was throwing a lot of stray darts, which is very unusual for Wade. He's very straight usually. A lot of tons, 140s. I think Cross won 8 out of the next 9 legs, and Wade just couldn't get anything going. So a comfortable 10-5 win for Rob Cross to reach his first Premier League final.
Neil, James Wade crashing out of the semi-final phase, but as we touched on a moment ago, has to be considered a pretty good Premier League season for James Wade. Not just the Premier League, everything that he did last year as well.
Yeah, it's just a continuation of the success that he had, the second half of 2018, really. And I think he's been... whoever's playing James Wade knows that they're not in for an easy game, because he will dig in and he will make finishes that he needs to make, ton plus finishes that he needs to make to to stay in game. So I think it's been a really, really good performance. He only lost 3 games out of the 16, which was the same as Van Gerwen. So the signs are good that it's going to carry on. To be honest, I looked at him. I think we discussed it a few days earlier. He was 7-1 to win on finals night, and I thought that was a decent price. I was a little bit surprised that he didn't perform as well as he can.
Okay, Josh, so with all that in mind, that gave us a final of Michael van Gerwen against Rob Cross. I think a lot of people predicted, the bookmakers certainly fancied a Van Gerwen versus Rob Cross final. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, I think it was quite fitting, really, John. The 2 best players over the league faced, duking it out in the final. The only issue is, obviously, Cross has played Van Gerwen 5 times in the Premier League and got beaten heavily on all occasions. I think the aggregate score in the Premier League was 39-14 to Van Gerwen. So when Cross is the world number 2, the nearest challenger, that's quite an ominous stat. And Van Gerwen, he was 5-1 up Michael van Gerwen, started off like a train. Cross, to his great credit, fought back really well. I think he hit legs of 13, 12, 14 to make it 5-4. He was really fired up, throwing some great stuff, but then missed 3 darts to make it 5-all at the interval. If he hits that, it's a different game. But Van Gerwen took out 74 to go 6-4 up, then put the afterburners on, won 5 of the next 6 legs, ran out an 11-5 winner to win his 4th Premier League title in a row, his 5th in total.
Neil, you and I watched the final together. We had it on. Not going to lie, I thought the final was a bit of a damp squib, but in the end, it was pretty routine for Van Gerwen in the end, wasn't it?
It was, and I think Josh mentioned it that Cross had 3 darts to get back to 5-all.
Yeah.
And we might have seen a different game had he have nailed that, but didn't happen. And then Van Gerwen managed to get away. So there does seem to be building this thing that Cross struggles against Van Gerwen. So we all know he beat him in that brilliant World Championship semi-final in 2017. But it is becoming a bit of a worry that we do seem to have this gap between world number 1 and world number 2. And I think the sooner we can get Gary Anderson back playing regularly, hopefully that will avoid that scenario.
Josh, Van Gerwen obviously picks up yet another Premier League trophy, and his form, particularly in the major tournaments, doesn't seem to show any sign of abating, does it?
Certainly not, no. I mean, I think he's struggled in this year's Premier League. He hasn't been on his best form. I mean, he's put in some great averages over the last couple of weeks, but he's been vulnerable to me. I mean, obviously, no Gary Anderson this year. Obviously, Barney dropping out early. Phil Taylor, obviously, is no more in the darting world. So,
sign of a good player, though, if you're not perhaps at the top of your game, but still managing to grind out the results and ultimately lift the trophy.
Exactly. I think the thing with Van Gerwen, he performs on finals night. It's knockout. It's do or die. It's now or never. And that's when he performs, and that's when he's at his best. And I think Wayne Mardle mentioned it in commentary. In the final, it didn't feel like Van Gerwen was playing particularly well, but you look at the averages in the end, and he averaged 103.36, which is an incredible performance over that format. So that's the thing with Van Gerwen. It's the mark of a true champion. Even when not playing his best, seemingly his best darts, he's still able to win convincingly against the world number 2.
Yeah, I think he's got that lovely winning habit, and when you've got it, you can get past opponents when you're not at your best. So he's got that mental attribute, and I think there's an element of players are not afraid of him, but I think some of them go up there not expecting to win.
Almost 2 legs down before they start.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Michael van Gerwen is your Premier League champion. Gents, before we move on, I'm just going to put you on the spot very, very quickly. I want you to have a quick think and give me your Premier League highlight over the last 17 weeks and your Premier League low light over the last 17 weeks. So something that you particularly enjoyed. It could be a match, it could be an incident, an event, something that happened that made you laugh or you particularly enjoyed, and a low light, something that turned you off a little bit throughout the duration of the competition, or something that happened on a night that you thought was not so great or didn't enjoy so much. I want your Premier League highlights and your Premier League lowlights. Josh, I'm going to come to you first. Out of the 3 of us around the table, you've watched far more of the darts than myself and Neil, I'm sure, obviously with your Sky Sports commitments. So give me your Premier League highlight this year.
The highlight for me would be, I know you were not a massive fan of the contenders, but for me, the John Henderson game against Michael van Gerwen just sticks out. The atmosphere was incredible. Henderson played so well. And that, for me, that walk-on will live long in the memory. So that's my highlight. My low light is the treatment that Gerwyn Price received from the crowds. I mean, he's up there doing his job. He's no different to the likes of Van Gerwen when he celebrates. And I thought he had to deal with a lot of stick throughout this year's Premier League. And I think it would have been deserved for Price to have reached the playoffs. He came out unstuck in the end. But yeah, I mean, every week he was having to contend with a lot of abuse from the crowd, and I didn't like that one bit.
Fair enough. Neil, had a chance to think your Premier League highlight.
So I'll start with my low light.
Oh, okay. Let's flip it on its head.
And then I'm going to contradict myself.
Okay, here we go. A Premier League
my
low light.
low light was the format. I've been quite vocal that I believe the Premier League should be about the elite darts players. And that's nothing against the contenders that come and play, because some really, really good players, but I didn't particularly like that. In terms of my highlight, to contradict myself, it was also the John Henderson game because of the fanfare and the way he played, and it was just a super occasion.
My Premier League low lights, Josh. I know we rib you and take the mick a little bit about your affinity with Raymond van Barneveld. My low light was Barney and his finishing bottom. I'm not saying that finishing bottom was a low light. For me, what I mean by the low light is it was his last Premier League.
Tough to see him playing
and
like
it's tough to see him. Nobody wanted to see that a legend sort of struggling as much as he did. So that was my Premier League low light. Didn't really enjoy seeing him struggle as much as he did. My Premier League highlight: James Wade beating Michael van Gerwen. Was a bit of a
that one,
I
didn't
did
you?
call it. Had a little bit of money on it. Did call it, and being a big James Wade fan, I was really pleased for him when he managed to pull that off. Josh, before we move away from Premier League, we better discuss this quickly.
I wanna be the last man standing, but there can only be one.
Yes, gentlemen. The conclusion, I think, of the Josh's Dartistry podcast Last Man Standing competition. Going into finals night, Josh, I believe there were 6 people still in the competition, weren't there?
There were indeed. Yeah, there were 6 people. So what we did, we changed it up a little bit, because I think all the 6 remaining people had all chosen all 4 semi-finals.
Yes, they had, yeah. So it presented us with a bit of a dilemma.
Yep, so we opted to say you had to choose the 2 semi-finalists, or the 2 winners from the 2 semi-finals.
Yep.
And then, obviously, the highest average in the final.
Yep.
So obviously you had to get through. You had to pick both winners to get through. I think all 6 people picked Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah.
But 4 went for Rob Cross.
Okay.
Sorry, no, 2 went for Rob Cross. 4 went for James Wade.
Okay, so that left us with 2 people in come the final.
Yes, it was a dart statistician, Carl Fletcher.
Yep.
And also Bob Houghton, who I think is the username Darts Connoisseur on Twitter.
Absolutely. And before you give us the result, also a shout out to Jeffrey Flex, who managed to make it through to almost the final.
Close again.
He's done so well in the last man standing competition this year. Obviously, he ran Jordan really close and came second to Jordan when Jordan won it.
If it was a league fade, he'd have won it.
Oh,
for
mate,
the consistency.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is the Liverpool of the LMS, isn't he? Always the bridesmaid. So
you might regret that on the first of June.
Point noted.
I hope no one is going to play that back to me. But anyway, yeah. So congratulations to Jeffrey. But yeah, Josh, tell us who the winner is of our last man standing competition.
Well, it was very close in terms of the averages, but the winner is Bob Houghton.
Round of applause for Bob. Well done, Bob. Well done, Bob. So Bob was closest for the average, was he?
Only just. I think he predicted 102.34.
Right.
And I think Carl picked 104.69. So it was very close.
Yeah,
it was 103.36. So Bob just won.
Cool.
I've got in contact with him via direct message. He sent over his details, so that mug will be on your way very soon.
Have you posted that out yet, Neil? Has
I
Josh
haven't.
paid for the postage?
So where does Bob live?
I'll get back to you on that one. He has sent me the details.
He lives in Uganda.
So I will arrange the posting of that item. If it was left to Josh, he'd probably try and walk and hand deliver it, and not because he wants to hand it over in person.
No,
so
'cause he wants to save the money.
Exactly. Make your own assumptions about that. Should we give Jeffrey a mug as well, based on his?
Listen, Josh is the boss. I'm not going to make any. I'm not going to make any decisions on that.
I think we'll have to have a bit of an off-air discussion about that one, but we could do.
It's a bit harsh.
Exactly, because he realises he might have to put his hand in his pocket.
Yeah, I think that would be quite a nice idea, Josh, to reward Jeffrey for his efforts.
No, it only seems fair, John. I think we can arrange that, definitely.
Excellent stuff. So, Jeffrey, get your details over to Josh. Drop him a private message on Twitter. And, yeah, we're going to send you a mug. So, congratulations to you, buddy, as well. I'd like to think that one day we'll have JDP mugs available for purchase.
Well, they are available.
Yeah, but where are we advertising that? I don't see Josh advertising it via his website or his Twitter feed.
Does it cost him to do that?
No, but asking to Josh to do anything on social media can be a bit of an uphill struggle at times. So, yeah, we will hopefully have the JDP mugs available for you to buy for fans of the show. That'd be nice if they can, and then we'll have a chat off air about how we can make that available for you going forwards. Gentlemen, the last man standing competition, success? Do you think?
I think so. 81 entrants this year, so that's impressive.
Yeah, Neil enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's been something good.
Tough.
Obviously, it has
tough.
been tough. I think with the ending of the Premier League, that probably therefore ends the last man standing competition. We'll put our heads together and have a think about another thing that we can perhaps do that's interactive for you guys, the listeners, so you can get involved. But I think we'll put the LMS competition to rest, put it to bed
I agree.
For a little while, and maybe resurrect it again next season. And we'll have a chat about that. But yeah, keep your eyes on social media for any announcements on that kind of thing, and we'll let you know what we intend to do. Enjoy the mug. Congratulations again, and well done to everybody involved.
I wanna be the last man standing, but there can only be one.
You're listening to the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Don't forget you can check us out on Facebook, the Josh's Dartistry page. You can also follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. And you can also go to our website www.joshisdartistry.com for all the latest news, blogs and information on the world of darts. Don't forget you can also call us and leave us a message on our voicemail box. That's 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329. Call our voicemail box, leave us a message, leave us a question, and we may play it on the show. Now back to the show.
Okay, it's now time for Challenge Josh.
Challenge Josh.
Okay, then, quite often the most amusing part of the show. Let's hand you over to a resident quizmaster, Mr. Neil Connor.
Thank you, John. I think I did say on the last episode that I wanted to change things up a little bit and make it a bit more interesting. So I'm going to give something else a go today, just to add a little bit of variety to this section.
Good. Looking forward to it. A bit of a change up. Change is as good as a rest, gentlemen, as they say.
Exactly. So the rules are, Josh, you start on 301.
Okay.
Your objective, as per a darts game, is to get down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell me what number you want to go for, whether you want to go for a treble or a double or a single. What I would say is, if you're going for single scores, the questions are much easier than if you're going for a double or a treble. So 301, the minimum number you can do that in is 6 darts. But I've got 15 questions. No, I've got more than 15 questions, but you will get a maximum of 15 questions, 15 darts to get 301.
I like it now. It sounds like you've put a lot of thought and effort into this. I'm impressed.
Very
Normally,
good work.
you just turn up at the podcast and you're watching telly, and when I hit record, you talk a bit, and when I turn it off, you're not interested anymore. But this sounds like you put some proper thought into it, Neil.
Well, I'm just looking at a different way to make him suffer. So.
Different way to stitch him up.
Exactly. So
I like it. I like the premise.
yes. So Josh will start with 301, and he'll need to tell me what he's aiming for.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First set. Josh to throw. Game on.
So you want him to select
Yep.
what he's aiming
You
for.
have to select the number as well as the treble.
Yes, because
Okay.
you. So this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
going to test your maths as well.
Yeah,
Josh,
you're going to have to
'cause
do your own scoring. I'm not chalking for
That's
you.
fine.
You can do it yourself, mate, all right? Because my maths is terrible.
I'll start off with a treble 20.
Interesting.
Well, I've got to be brave to start off with.
Okay, so you are firing for treble 20.
Mhm.
Your first question. In 2000... Right, sorry, I should have said these are all Premier League darts questions.
Okay.
So quite topical.
Okay, let's refire.
So here we go. Question 1 for treble 20. The format of the Premier League changed in 2013, and after the first 9 rounds, 2 players were relegated from the league, leaving the remaining 8. Okay, so something that we've become fairly familiar with lately. Can you name one of the 2 players who didn't make it past week 9?
Interesting.
2013.
Wes Newton.
That is correct. So Wes Newton was one of them. Who was the other one, Neil?
Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson. Good. Well done. So Josh, you understand how this is going to work?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So that was your top of the range, sort of harder question, was it, Neil, for a treble?
Well, it was a harder question than some of the ones that I may have for singles.
Okay.
If he gets a 6-starter, I'm not going to be very happy.
I don't think I will. I wouldn't worry.
Okay, so Josh, you are on 60, yes? Okay, let's move on to you on 60. Yeah, you are on 60.
Yes. Well,
Right.
2, 4, 1.
I need to get. Yeah, of course. I'm terrible at working backwards. We need a calculator on the table. Well, I certainly do. Let's move on to dart number 2. Josh, what are we looking for?
I'll go for another treble 20, please.
Arrogant.
Indeed. Okay. For treble 20, who took over the sponsorship of the Premier League darts in 2012?
McCoy's.
That is correct. Yes, McCoy's crisps. Other varieties of crisp are, of course, available. Neil, 2 out of 2.
Yeah, irritated.
So 120 so far scored. Josh, what are you going for next time?
Another treble 20, please.
Have a treble 20. His eyes are lighting up. He fancies the 6-darter. Okay, here we go with the 3rd dart.
Apart from the winner, can you name any 3 of the other 6 players who contested the 2005 Premier League darts tournament? So apart from the winner, can you name 3 others who contested the 2005 Premier League darts tournament?
Colin Lloyd, Mark Dudbridge, Peter Manley.
Yep, that is correct. And based on that is 180. It's a good start.
I think you've got a career as a caller there, John. I like that.
Yeah, I'd fancy myself to have a go at that. You know me, I like a microphone in my hand, I like the sound of my own voice. 3 darts, 180 maximum scored, Neil. How does that make you feel for the start of your new challenge, Josh?
I'd need to work harder next time, clearly.
If he's finding the treble 20 questions this easy, I wonder how, you know, if
I might get a wild card next year.
Might get a wild card. He's in. Right, okay, let's move on to... So what's your score at the moment, Josh?
I'm on 121.
You're on 121. Josh, you require 121. So
I'm going to go for...
Hopefully you're doing some maths in your head at how you check out 121, are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go for another treble 20 here, though.
Okay, here we go. Let's have dart number 4.
2019 Premier League darts kickoff night. Name the venue.
The Metro Radio Arena in Newcastle.
No score.
Ooh.
It was Newcastle, but it
It's
is
been renamed, isn't it? Yeah.
Utilita Arena.
Yeah.
So what was that, a bounce out?
Yeah, bounce out.
Bounce
I think
out. I
we'll
missed
call
that one.
bounce out.
Okay, so nothing scored with that dart. Josh, what would you aim for your 5th dart?
I'll still go for a treble 20 because I'm still on 121, aren't I?
Yeah. So we're going for treble 20. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Okay, this player who has won the UK Open finished bottom of the Premier League table in 2007. Can you name him?
Roland Shelton.
Straight in with a correct answer. Pretty confident with that answer, Josh. It's almost like you sort of add the names of who took part in that tournament and had it all mapped out and knew it quite quickly.
I remember most of the players back in that tournament because 2006-07 was when I first started watching the darts, and I know Charlton won the UK Open, so just a bit of putting 2 and 2 together.
Okay, so he successfully hits that treble 20, Neil, with his 5th dart. So, Josh, what does that leave you on?
Leave me on 61.
61.
Now, what happens if I go for a 25 here? Is that allowed, Neil?
Yep.
So does that count as a double, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll count that as a double.
Okay, so you're going to go for a 25, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, outer ball. Neil, if you're ready with the question, let's have dart number 6.
What 2 items of the same colour in the original Premier League darts rules did a player have to wear?
So could you repeat the question? I didn't really... Is it the same... Sorry.
Let's have the question again.
In the original Premier League darts rules, what 2 items of the same colour does a player have to wear?
What items does a player have to wear?
Oh, to be black trousers and black shoes?
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Does Peter Wright wear?
No, but you said the original.
Okay.
He did, in fairness. Yeah, of course. That is
Trying to catch me out. Let me sneaky.
So you're only allowed to wear black trousers and black shoes?
I believe so. I'm assuming that's been removed from the rules.
Well, it must have been, certainly. As you mentioned there, Josh, Neil, Peter Wright certainly doesn't adhere to those rules anymore. So jazzes it up with a few colours. So that is your 25. So that must leave you...
Double 18.
Double 18. Double 18, Neil. Are we ready with a question for double 18?
We are indeed.
Okay, 1 match dart. Here we go.
In the 2011 Premier League of Darts, who hit the most 180s in a single match? And if you get the first part right, I'll be asking a follow-up question to finish the game.
Gary Anderson.
Okay, against?
Simon Whitlock.
Game shot and the match. Josh Gorton. He's a winner. He's nailed that. I mean, you only had 1 bounce out.
Yeah, I got it in 7.
Got it in 7, Neil. 7 down. He's done it with 8 questions to spare. That's,
he looks fuming.
I have to say, normally on Challenge Josh, you give him a lot more of a tough time than that.
They were some tricky questions there as well.
There were some tricky questions.
It's one of these things though, you either know it or you don't. I just got a bit lucky tonight.
Arrogant response.
So hang on. You've got some questions left, have you?
I have a few questions left.
Well, should we just finish off with a few? Throw him a few curveballs.
Let's go.
I won the game, John.
No, you won the game. Listen, I'll take my hat off
I'm in
to
the
you.
press room.
You're in the press room.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Set the timer. 2 minutes.
Yeah,
of
quick
the
fire.
remaining questions. Let's see how many you can
Quick
get.
fire. Right, hang on. I've got a stopwatch on my watch. Hang on.
Yeah.
And just to up the stakes, Neil, what we're going to do as well, we're going to just put some nice background music on just for Josh to get acclimated.
Thank you for that, John.
That's going to be our 2 minutes. Okay, Neil, I am on the clock. Are you ready? Gentlemen, start your engines in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Who was the inaugural winner of the Premier League Darts in 2005?
Phil Taylor.
Which venue hosted the 2010 final?
Wembley Arena.
Oh.
What's your answer?
Wembley Arena.
Okay, correct. Can you name the players who made it through to finals night in 2016?
Michael van Gerwen, Phil Taylor, Gary Anderson, Adrian Lewis.
Very good. He's doing well here. The 2010 Premier League Darts saw a 9-dart finish when this player checked out with treble 20, treble 19 and double 12. It was only the tournament's second 9-dart finish, but can you name the player who achieved it and who he did it against?
Raymond van Barneveld against Terry Jenkins.
Okay, and where was that?
In Aberdeen.
Week?
13?
No, it was week 12.
70 seconds gone. 70 seconds gone.
These two players played one another in the 2012 Premier League darts, and in 2004 they contested the PDC World Final, which is considered to be one of the greatest televised matches. Who are they?
Phil Taylor and Kevin Painter.
Okay, apart from Robert Thornton, can you name the Scottish player who participated in the 2013 Premier League?
Gary Anderson.
Okay, well done. At the start of 2015 Premier League, who was the defending champion?
Raymond van Barneveld.
Well done.
15 seconds left.
In 2019, what was the winner's prize fund?
£250,000.
Well done. He was ranked number 7 in the PDC rankings prior to the 2007 Premier League darts. I've started, so I will finish.
All right, Magnus Magnusson.
He was ranked number 7 in the PDC rankings prior to the 2007 Premier League. Who was he?
Tough one, that 2007. No idea. I'm going to guess Adrian Lewis.
It was friend of the show, Wayne Mardle.
Oh, there you go. Wayne Mardle. Sky Sports Wayne Mardle. Excellent stuff. How many questions did he get right? Were you counting there as you went along there? This is 2 minutes up, that's for sure.
One.
He got one wrong, didn't he? Which was the week of Barneveld's.
Oh, no, you can't say that.
1, 2, 3.
That's ridiculous.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Not bad. So you did well in the first part. You managed to get down from 301 with only one bounce out, and 9 out of 10 for the remaining answers. I think he's done very well.
Yeah,
now.
he has done. Maybe we'll go 501 next time. He's rattled.
Could be a long game.
He's rattled in a 7-darter in the first week. So
he's done very well. He's done very well. Josh, many congratulations. Neil, as ever, thanks for putting together the questions for Challenge Josh, and we look forward to next episode's instalment.
Challenge Josh.
Hi, this is John Lowe, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay then, folks, it's time to get all the latest odds in What Are the Odds?
Cool, what are the odds?
Okay, let's hand you over to a resident odds checker, Mr. Neil Connor.
Thank you, John. So now the Premier League is over. Let's look forward to the next big event coming up, the World Cup of Darts. Again, our odds brought to us by Sporting Bet. So, Josh, who do you think are the favourites for the World Cup?
I would guess England.
No, they're second favourites. So Scotland. So I'm assuming who's playing for Scotland?
For Scotland are Gary Anderson and
Right.
Peter Wright.
I find that incredible that they're favourites.
Scotland 9-4. England just a bit higher at 5-2.
You've got Gary Anderson coming off of the back of a period of inactivity with his injury and not participating regularly in the Premier League, and you've got, let's be honest, an out of form Peter Wright. I'm astonished.
I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, obviously they've been together before. They understand they've got a partnership together, but obviously England have got a new look team. We've got Rob Cross partnering up with Michael Smith this year, so Smith making his debut, Cross in his second appearance at the World Cup.
Josh, has Scotland ever won it?
They haven't. No, they've reached the final a couple of times, but never won it.
That does surprise me. Okay, Neil, what else you got?
Yeah, so as I say, Scotland 9-4 favourites, England second favourites 5-2. The Netherlands, a new look Netherlands. Sorry, Josh. 11-4, and one that I quite fancy as not an outsider but decent odds are Wales 13-2. So I think it's Gerwin, Price, and the Ferret.
Yep, Johnny Clayton, and obviously for Netherlands, you mentioned their new look team. Michael van Gerwen will be partnered by Jermaine Watermina, making his debut this year. Yeah,
that's going to change the dynamic of this competition for the Dutch side quite significantly, isn't it, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a lot of singles matches, but the pairs format can be very important. And Michael van Gerwen and Barney had a really good rapport in the pairs. They were so successful, never lost a game of pairs. So if it comes down to that, it remains to be seen how they fare. But Watermina deserves this spot, so fair play to him. Good luck to him.
So World Cup of Darts, Josh, is June the 6th to the 9th, isn't it? It comes from Hamburg, I believe?
Yeah, the Barclaycard Arena.
Excellent stuff. Have you got the draws or the lineups to hand, Josh? We could take people through that, couldn't we?
We've got England obviously number 1 seed with Rob Cross and Marcus Smith, they play the Philippines. Now, Wayne Mardle drew this out. He said it's a real banana skin, and I tend to agree. We saw Lawrence Alagan and Noel Mallet then, the Philippines duo, both play at the World Championship. Both played really well. They play a lot of doubles together. I think England could be in trouble here.
England are 10-1 on with Sportingbet.
Can I just take you back to the draw? I did watch the draw with Wayne Mardle, and God bless Wayne, he did try to give it that sort of FA Cup feel. Every ball that he pulled out, he was followed up with a he did try to just drama it up a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't quite Rod Stewart and the Scottish Cup draw, though, was it? That was memorable a few years ago.
Sorry, Josh, I interrupted. Carry on, buddy.
No, so obviously England play the Philippines in the first round, and the winner of that will play Republic of Ireland or Greece. Austria, 8th seed, Menzel Sulevic leading them. They play Russia, and the winners of that will play China or the USA. 5th seeds Australia, former finalists, led by Simon Whitlock and Carl Anderson. They play Finland, former quarter-finalists. Italy play Canada. No John Part for the Canadian team this year. Bit of a change in there. As we mentioned, 4th seeds Netherlands. They play Spain. That's a dangerous draw. Cristo Reyes and Tony Alcinas for the Spanish.
Yeah.
Poland. They're my dark horses this year. Krzysztof Ratajski, Titus Kanik. They play the Czech Republic, and they could play Netherlands in round 2. 2nd seed Scotland, they play Denmark. Brazil, we will talk to Diogo Portela, Brazil captain. They play Sweden. 7th seeds Belgium, semi-finalists last year. They play Hong Kong. Hungary play host nation Germany. 6th seeds Northern Ireland, led by Daryl Gurney, play South Africa. New Zealand play Lithuania. 3rd seeds Wales play Singapore. Paul Lim on show there.
Go on, Paul.
And obviously Gibraltar play Japan in the last tie.
Josh, before we throw it back to Neil for a few more odds on it, for the uninitiated, just remind us, because it is a very unique event, isn't it, in terms of being a team event. Just remind us on the format and how it kind of works and how it differs from the usual sort of tournaments that we see.
Yes, we start off, John, obviously 32 teams all competing each other. I've just gone through the draw. The first round is doubles only.
Yeah.
I think it's first to 5 legs. Then we move into the last 16. Then it starts off with singles matches.
Yeah.
So if the same nation wins both singles matches, they're through.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 1-1, it then goes to a doubles decider, and that format continues all the way through to the final. Then if you reach the final, then it's first to 4 points. And obviously that includes a combination of singles and doubles matches. But that's why you usually get more upsets in the first round, because then it goes into singles. The likes of Van Gerwen, Cross, Smith, whoever, they come into their own then. Whereas the doubles format's more unpredictable. So that's when you get more upsets.
And I think that's why we like it, Josh, isn't it? Because it is something a little bit different. It's, similar to the Grand Prix that, where you have to start on a double. It's just something a little bit different, isn't it, that we don't often see.
Exactly. And I saw Michael van Gerwen had an interview last night after the Premier League triumph talking about the World Cup. And he said he preferred it to be all doubles. And I was quite surprised by him saying that, because obviously they've done so well and he's so dominant in the singles. But I think a lot of the players would like that, because it's something different. It's that element of unpredictability. So I agree with Michael van Gerwen. I'd like it to be all doubles.
And it also gives us the opportunity to discuss the sort of the team ethic, doesn't it? The camaraderie between the two players and how we suspect that they're going to work together. We talk about Anderson and Wright, how they get on, and obviously they know each other very well. Do they get on sort of behind the scenes, and how's that going to contribute to the team ethic? Van Gerwen obviously has a new partner. He's been so used to playing with Barney for a number of years. How's that going to affect him? It really does sort of throw up a different dynamic, doesn't it, Josh?
Yeah, you're 100% right there, John. I mean, we look at Belgium. Obviously, they've got Kim Huybrechts and Dimitri van den Berg this year, but for a number of years, it was the Huybrechts brothers.
Kim and Ronnie,
and they weren't the best team in terms of quality. I mean, Kim was a stronger player, but they had such a great bond, obviously being brothers, and they were such a formidable team, especially in the doubles format.
Neil, sorry, mate, we've absolutely hijacked your odds section there, just to have a little preview about the World Cup. Have you got anything else on the World Cup for us?
Well, only just a few of the teams that Josh mentioned. So Belgium, 22-1. Josh's fancy, Poland.
Dark horses, I think.
40-1. And Spain, 150-1.
So the players that represent the teams, Josh, it's done on the order of merit, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The top 2 players from each country.
So thinking about that and the players that are involved, are there any sort of high-profile players that aren't involved because of where they sit in the order of merit? I mean, Wade is the one that instantly comes to mind. I would love to see him representing England in the World Cup, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, he's only played in there once, and that was the first year. Him and Taylor, number 1 and 2 in the world, they lost to Spain, didn't they, in the first round?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously James Wade misses out. Barneveld, I know he's awfully Roman van Barneveld, sorry. Awfully slipped out to, I think, 30th in the world now. Awfully been leapfrogged by Jermaine Watamina. He misses out. John Part, I know he's not on the PDC Pro Tour anymore, but John Part has represented Canada every year up until now, so he misses out. So it's disappointing for those who've been ever present, but it gives the opportunity to see some of the lesser lights, and I think it's positive.
Neil, Corey Cadby for me is one I'd love to see taking part and representing Australia in the future. He doesn't form part of the Australian team this time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it will be interesting to see how he adapts to the team format. He could be one that's brilliant to play with, but he may be one with all his mannerisms and camaraderie. It could be quite off-putting for a teammate, but so it could go one or two ways. But I'm sure in future years he'll be very close to that team. But Anderson and Whitlock very strong.
Yeah, and the World Cup of Darts has thrown up some great moments for us over the years, Josh, hasn't it? We've seen some great wins, some incredible defeats, some at times bad behaviour on stage during the World Cup as well. So it's always an interesting tournament to keep an eye on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a unique event. Obviously, it's pressure enough when you're playing for yourself, representing yourself. But when you're representing your country, and you've also got obviously a partner, you're trying to make sure you don't let down. Emotions always run high. It's a great tournament. Netherlands have won it 4 times. England have won it 4 times. I think this year we could see a new winner. So we'll have to wait and see. Interesting.
That's Josh's pick, a new winner.
Do you remember Josh won't remember, but back in the 80s, John, I think snooker, they used to play doubles.
Yes, that's right.
And Steve Davis used to play with Tony Meehan.
That's right, yeah.
I'd be intrigued to see who these players would pick if they weren't limited to fellow compatriots. It'd be interesting to see a different format at some point with people that choose their own partners.
Yeah, like in Wimbledon, I suppose,
exactly,
when you have the tennis doubles and you're not restricted in terms of your nationality. You can kind of get a team together and pick who you want to play with.
Exactly.
Really, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe there's room in the PDC calendar for that, Josh. Maybe as our representative, and you're in the ear of the PDC. Perhaps you could have a conversation with us and come up with them on our behalf and come up with a pairs competition. What do you reckon?
I think the only problem with that suggestion is we'll have 127 tour card holders knocking on Michael van Gerwen's door saying, "Michael, can you play with me, please, mate?"
I don't know. Michael's fallible. He's not. He doesn't win everything, but yeah, I'd imagine. I imagine people would be queuing around the block to pair up with Michael. Neil, any more odds for us?
Yeah, so I thought we'd have a look at what the impacts of the Premier League has had on the World Championship odds for 2020. So I was surprised, I have to say, again, the odds being brought by Sporting Bet. Van Gerwen, obviously going to be favourite for the World Championships. Odds against, 11 to 10. For me, that's fairly decent odds. I was expecting him to be odds on, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
it's a long way away, though. Who knows what will happen in terms of form or potential injury? We don't know. It's a long time away yet.
It is, but if you were going to pick a winner now... I'm sure we would all resoundingly pick him.
Yeah, true.
So that surprised me a little bit. And then second favourites are Gary Anderson and Rob Cross at 8 to 1. James Wade and Michael Smith at 16 to 1, along with Peter Wright. Daryl Gurney, Glenn Durant and Gerwyn Price 28 to 1. And then Adrian Lewis 33 to 1. Anyone else that you can see? No, Josh.
I'm saying nothing.
Give us
125 to 1.
Ooh.
His last ever appearance at the Ali Pali, Josh, 125 to 1. How does that make you feel?
Obviously, first of all, we've got to get there. He's definitely on course. I think he's probably about a couple of £1,000 away from guaranteeing his return. He's playing quite well recently. He's got a bit of form back.
Yeah, I noticed he's done quite well on a couple of the events recently, hasn't he?
I mean, results-wise, he hasn't had many deep runs in tournament, but his averages are up. He's playing a lot better, so we could see him, maybe go deep in a couple of Pro Tours soon. But it's just qualifying for the majors that's a difficulty.
Just looking a bit further down, Corey Cadby.
Yeah,
you mentioned 66 to 1. Ian White.
I was going to mention him.
100 to 1.
Who's had a very good month or so, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I know it's not been on TV, but it's been on the big stage in front of a stream. It's been streamed. He's been playing really well. He's never gone beyond the TV quarter-final. I think this year's the time.
Yeah,
maybe,
I would agree.
Maybe it won't be the World, but I think certainly at some point this year he will go beyond the TV quarter-final. Sorry.
I'm really putting you on the spot here, Neil, but do you have any odds for Labanauskas?
300 to 1.
300 to 1.
He actually reached a Pro Tour final, which I was going to discuss a little bit later on. So fair play to Darius. He's taken the PDC circuit very well.
And Neil mentioned him earlier, Josh. I don't think someone has had perhaps such a fantastic debut season in the PDC so far as Glenn Durant has.
Yep, 2 Pro Tour titles. I mean, there's a lot of question marks, a lot of pressure put on Glenn. Obviously, 3-time Lakeside champion. Can he do it in the PDC? Of course he could. We all know how good he is. And I'm really pleased for him that he's proven his quality. And I think he's going to have a very, very good rest of the year. He's a real danger. If he is unseeded, he could be in the top 32 by then. But if he is unseeded, he's going to be the one everyone wants to avoid in that first round.
Neil, any more odds for us?
No, that's all for this show.
Excellent stuff. That is your odds. If you fancy a bet, hopefully Neil's given you some pointers there of some good ideas where to place your money for the particularly the World Cup of Darts and, of course, the forthcoming World Championships at the end of the year. Here on the Josh's Dartistry podcast, we, of course, remind you to gamble responsibly, and when the fun stops, stop.
Cool, what are the odds?
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for the latest news and insight to the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329. Leave us a message and we may play it on air. Now back to the show.
Hello, I'm John McDonald and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Right then, Josh, as you mentioned at the top of the show, you managed to secure an interview with Brazilian World Cup star Diogo Portela. How did that go, bud?
Yeah, really well, thanks, John. Diogo's great fun. He spoke really well about a number of topics, obviously how he got into the sport, how he thinks Brazil will fare at this year's World Cup and his season so far.
Okay, let's have a listen.
Right, guys, I'm delighted to be joined here by Brazilian World Cup star Diogo Portela. Diogo, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Josh. My pleasure. So, Diogo, I want to start really by asking you about your journey in the world of darts, and it kind of started quite unusually. It started actually on a Sky One programme called 180. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
To be honest, at that time I didn't even know about the TV show. And a friend of mine from London, he sent me the flyer on Facebook. I'm gonna try that. You never know. A little bit of exposure is good for me. Maybe bring some exposure and sponsor. I went there first for interview. Then I had 2 or 3 more days of playing games, and after nearly 2 months, I think I got a call. I never thought I would make it really because I knew a few friends that had got answers before me, and like 3 or 4 weeks before me. So I had already forgotten by the time, and then I got the call, and the producer said I was in. I was really happy, and then I got to meet James Wade, was my idol at that time, and Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen the same day. It was brilliant experience for me, and really happy that I won the program. It was very good. It helped me a lot to the next steps of my career.
Obviously, you're the leading light in Brazil in terms of darts anyway. And what inspired you to play darts? Because Brazil's not really a country renowned for producing dart players, is it?
No, not really. I think before me we had one great result. I think it was in World Cup of 2004 or 2005 in both the WTF World Cup, right? We got one guy in the semi-final, Mauricio, which is a very good friend of mine. But before that and after that, we never actually had anything. The main reason for me to start playing darts, basically, when I was 2, my dad split with my mom, and he moved for a city like 6-7 hours driving from where I lived in Rio, and I never got to meet my dad, and I usually spend only 10 or 12 days in a year with him. I knew he played darts in Brazil. My dad's Portuguese, so he started playing the darts in Portugal. Mm-hmm. And when he moved to Brazil, he with other players started federation there, and I knew he was into darts. So I actually decided to play darts just to have a couple of more weekends with him during the Brazilian tour. And I was getting better and better and winning few titles here and there. And because of the more time together, my dad and I, we became like best friends. And feel I kind of own that something. So I won't stop until I give something special for that, because that really gives it something very special for me, you know. So that's the whole reason of it.
No, it's a brilliant story, Diogo. But since appearing in the World Cup of Darts, and obviously you've appeared in the last 2 World Championships, has the popularity of the sport grown in Brazil since then?
Yes, people, we can see, like, anything in Brazil, it moves really slow. Mm-hmm. So we need to be patient. But we can see the motivation of the players are different. You know, we can see there are a lot of more tournaments with prize money. Prize money has been increasing. We've been hosting international tournaments. And not only Brazil, we now we've created the SADC, which is South America Darts Corporation, and we've been holding tournaments in Argentina and Chile as well. We want to go. I got an exhibition set up in Costa Rica, which is Central America, and Guyana as well. So it is a lot coming from them, because, like, of course, the doors are open now that we have a spot for the main tournament of the year, and because of the World Cup as well, which is coming next. And yeah, I can see there are a lot more talking about that. It's nothing big yet, but it's a lot better than 5 years ago, definitely.
No, it's great stuff. And you've in terms of your season so far, you just missed out on a tour card at Q School, but you've competed awfully on the Challenge Tour and quite a lot on the European Tour. How have you found that?
Yeah, I think this year is a lot of changes for me. You know, I changed my management company, and they've been really supportive with me. They got the experience, and when I didn't get the tour card in the Q School, which I think I was one of the favorites, and I didn't get it, just didn't play well. Then we sat together, we decided to tweak a few things that I was doing. I'm working a lot in the mental side of the game, and I'm trying to find myself in the hockey again with maybe different darts, different setup, trying to improve. I think the last 2 or 3 years I've been playing in a very good level, but I haven't improved. You know, I needed to improve, and maybe I know it's not the technique, so maybe twisting a darts or a stem or a flight could help me. So I'm using these years to get all these tests out of the way and make sure I get the right setup with the right equipment with me by the end of the year, and hopefully get my tour card in January.
No, of course. And just obviously mentioning the European Tour, you've competed in 3 so far this year, but we saw on Twitter recently you were quite unwell at one European Tour event. You were in hospital, weren't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, it was a nightmare. And the problem is that when I woke up that day, the funny fact is I woke up that day, I was really, really looking forward to the game. You know, it was my third European qualification. The first 2 took me a while to get the emotions when you qualify one day before, and then you get too excited. But that day, I knew what I had to do. I just go back to the hotel, have an early night, just relax for the next day. I woke up the next day, was feeling perfect. I went to the gym, I went to the sauna. I was completely relaxed, and then I ate something in the lunch, which I think was the fish. I only choose the fish because it was light.
Yeah.
So I was really getting ready for the night, for the match in the night. And I think I got some food poisoning from the fish and the potatoes I had early on that day, and it actually took 3 or 4 hours to hit me, and that was when I actually got ready for the game. And I even messaged my wife on that day, the stomach is funny, and she said, might be nervous, so just relax, just do your routine, and you'll be fine. And as soon as I got the venue, I started to get sick. I think I got sick 4 or 5 times. One was just, I remember I gave the dart to the security guy, and then I rushed to the toilet because I was not feeling well. And at that moment I said, I don't think I can make it really. As soon as they prepare everything, the backstage, I saw a family where I had met the day before in the qualifier, like a Brazilian woman with her daughter and an Australian fella, and they didn't have tickets. They only came to watch me, and these three guys like, okay, I need to make it for them, and that was actually what pushed me for the stage. But I didn't really want to play. I was not feeling well, and after that I basically rushed to the hospital and spent the whole night there. It was terrible. It was one of my worst nights ever.
No, but fair play to you, because, like I say, competing and like I say, doing yourself justice there. But obviously the World Cup of Darts, Diogo, that's obviously your focus now. It's coming up in just a few weeks' time in Germany. How proud are you to be leading your country for a third time now?
Being very honest, I think this is the best team we've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur is very, very experienced player. He played in a lot of WDF World Cups. He had some good results. He also played in few Americans Cup, and I think in terms of major titles in Brazil, he's their most, and that shows like the quality there. It's just a matter of see who can bring this to the stage. But I'm very confident. I think we can make some success. I really believe in it.
And you got Sweden in round one, and obviously if you progress past that, it's a possible second round tie against Scotland. I mean, how special would that be to play against Gary Anderson and Peter Wright?
Oh yeah, I think it's basically the same as last year, where we got Denmark. I think Sweden this year is a little bit better than Denmark last year. I like all of my respect for Dennis Nilsson, which is a great friend, and Magnus Garrett as well, which is a great player. Don't even have to say, we all know them. But last year when we beat Denmark, we played Scotland as well, and experience to play Peter Wright and Gary Anderson is just amazing. If we can make this year again, would be lovely. And hopefully, Peter Wright's not in his best form. Gary Anderson has problems. So I don't know, maybe on that day they eat a fish and something happens.
You never know, Diogo. Well, listen,
we never know. Yeah.
We wish you all the very best for the World Cup, mate, and many thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much, Josh. My pleasure.
Take care, Diogo. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry. Josh's Dartistry.
Well, there you go, folks. Josh's interview there with Diogo. Josh, what a lovely guy to talk to.
Yeah, really enjoyed that, John. Like I say, he's great fun. I like the little joke about Gary Anderson and Pete Wright having the fish. Hopefully, he suffered a bit of food poisoning at the European Tour event a few weeks ago. They've got every chance if they gel. I mean, he fancies their chances this year, Diogo. He says this is their best pair they've had at the World Cup. So we'll have to wait and see.
Josh, Neil and I around the table are considerably older than yourself. Well, I say considerably, a few years older than yourself. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the Sky One TV programme that he was on, that he played with James Wade. It doesn't ring a bell with me.
No, 180. No, I mean, it was... I don't think
I wonder if there's footage available on YouTube of it somewhere.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there is. I think he won £16,000 on it. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he got to meet, obviously, James Wade, who was his idol.
Yeah.
Peter Wright, Michael van Gerwen. Hopefully, it's his TV experience for him. So, yeah, it's kind of a little strange anecdote that you wouldn't really associate with a PDC tour or PDC player. But, yeah, interesting, that.
Neil, Diogo, he's a character, isn't he?
He is. It's one of my favourite interviews so far, to be honest. I really enjoyed listening to it. Interesting to hear about the tweaks that he's making to his game to try and push him on to sort of the next level. And it'll be interesting to see how they fare at the World Cup. 300-1 if you fancy the Brazilians.
Could be worth a fiver of anyone's money, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Sweden's not an easy first round draw, but it's winnable. Obviously, Scotland then in the second round, that will be tough. But short format, if it goes to doubles, you never know.
Okay, well, Diogo, thanks for coming on the JDP. Thanks for giving your time up to come on and have a chat with Josh. We do appreciate that. You are always welcome on the JDP. And, of course, all three of us around the table, we wish you all the very best for the upcoming World Cup of Darts.
this is Dan Dawson, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay, Josh, before we move away from the darting action, let's have a quick look at the Players' Championship. Can you give us an update on what's been occurring?
Well, John, since we last recorded, we've had 4 Players' Championship events. We had a double header in midweek about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And Players' Championship 13 saw William O'Connor win his first ever PDC title, beating Nathan Aspinall in the final. So Aspinall, obviously UK Open champion, continuing his good form, but well done to William O'Connor.
William O'Connor's been mentioned on this podcast before, Josh, as a potential up-and-coming star, hasn't he?
Episode 1, I believe.
Oh, you're probably right, yeah.
He's been playing really well now for a number of months, and, well, probably last 12 months. But it's great to see him put it together all on one day. Very consistent. I think he averaged about 96, 97 for the whole day, which over 7 games is some going. So well done to William for that. The following day, we saw Jeffrey Deswan win his first title of 2019, beating Stephen Bunton in the final. Now, the Bullet has played well on the European Tour, but not on the Players' Championship circuit so far, so good for him to hopefully get to a final. Big, important £6,000 of ranking prize money for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, obviously, last weekend, we saw Players' Championship 15 and 16. Glenn Durrant picked up his second Players' Championship title of 2019, beating Darius Labanauskas in the final, so hopefully Darius' first PDC final. And that win for Durrant puts him top of the Players' Championship Order of Merit after 16 events. So wonderful achievement for Glenn.
Neil, Glenn's performed very well so far, particularly in these Players' Championships. Do you see the possibility of Glenn perhaps winning a bigger tournament before the end of the year? Is that a possibility, or is it a little bit too soon for that?
No, I think it's a possibility. I think the fact that he won one of the Players' Championships so early kind of got the monkey off his back a little bit, and took the pressure off. So he's done terrifically well. He's a perennial winner, and as I spoke about earlier, that winning habit, whether that was in the BDO or the PDC, to have that is something that is really a really powerful thing to have in your armoury. So I can see him winning a big tournament, no problem.
Josh, Glenn there beating JDP favourite Darius Labanauskas in the final. Do you agree with Neil's comments on Glenn Durrant for the rest of the year?
I think absolutely. He's definitely got the game. I think the only difficulty for Glenn is he'll be unseeded in a lot of these majors if he qualifies for them. So he could have the potential of facing Michael van Gerwen or a Rob Cross in round 1. He's more than capable of beating them. He beat Michael van Gerwen 7-2 in the semis, Players' Championship 15. So he's beaten Michael. That was their first ever competitive meeting. So he's got the game. I wouldn't put it past him.
Okay, and finally, Josh, Players' Championship 16. Tell us what happened there.
Yep, another new winner on the Pro Tour circuit, Harry Ward. Got his PDC Tour card in January, only 21 years of age. He's had a fantastic start to life in the PDC. This was his first quarter-final appearance. But he overcame the quarter-final hurdle and in the final beat Max Hopp. So wonderful win for Harry Ward, 8-7 in that one.
Now, Harry Ward, not a name that I've heard much talk of prior. It is nice to see, however, new names on the winners' board, isn't it, coming through?
Absolutely. We want to see a competitive circuit, and I think we're seeing new winners all the time, and names pop up that maybe we're not so familiar with. So the depth nowadays is wonderful, and we've alluded to that on past shows. So it can only be a good thing. Competitive darts with so many good players.
Okay, that is your Players' Championship update. Josh, in tandem with that, we've also had 2 or 3 European Darts Tour events have taken place, haven't we?
We've had actually 3 European Tour events in successive weeks, John. And
thick and fast.
Yep, familiar theme for the first 2. At the German Darts Open, the 4th European Tour event of the year, we saw Michael van Gerwen beat Ian White. Darting deja vu a week later, as in the Austrian Darts Open, van Gerwen again triumphed, beating Ian White in the final. So obviously 2 runners-up spots for Ian White. But it was 3rd time lucky for him at the European Darts Grand Prix. He beat Peter Wright in the final, 8-7, to clinch his 2nd European Tour title. But obviously good return to form for Peter Wright, who beat Michael van Gerwen in the quarterfinals. But testament to Ian White. I mean, 3 successive appearances in European Tour finals. And I think the big criticism about his game is he's been unable to produce it on the big stage. Well, this is a big stage. Big crowds. I know it's not televised, but it is streamed. He's shown he's got the game, and I think this could be the start of something special for Ian White.
I'd love to see Ian White win one of the big ones. He's a big character that's been on the circuit, Josh, for a long, long time. Really nice guy, interviews very well. The amount of times I see other players being interviewed, and you can see him mucking around in the background.
He's such a popular figure, definitely.
Yeah, sweeping the stage and making funny comments. Big fan of Ian's, and Josh, I'd really like to see him win a big one day.
He'd be a very popular winner for sure, John. I think he's been a little bit unfairly overlooked as well for a lot of these, maybe even the Premier League, the Contenders concept. And also the World Series invitations. They're quite monotonous. It's the same sort of players getting the opportunities. Ian White deserves a shot, in my opinion. He's been so consistent on the Pro Tour for the last couple of years. Yes, he hasn't quite done it on TV yet in terms of reaching a major semi-final, but I think his time's coming.
Josh, putting you on the spot a little bit, do you know when the next European darts event, tour event is?
We've actually got one underway at the moment, John, the Dutch Darts Masters.
Oh, yes, of course we have. Of course.
We have Michael van Gerwen looking to defend his title. He's going to take some stopping.
Neil, do you fancy Van Gerwen to defend his title there?
Yeah, I think so. Coming off the back of a Premier League win, I can see that momentum carrying him through for the weekend.
Okay, Josh, any more updates for us?
That's all for this episode, John.
Excellent stuff. That is your European Tour update.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for all the latest news and insight into the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329 and leave us a message, and we may play it live on air. Now back to the show.
This is Nathan Aspinall, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Welcome back to the JDP. It's now time to discuss the items in the news.
In the news.
Okay, Josh, I'm going to throw it straight over to you. News coming out regarding James Wade and the DRA.
Yeah, the DRA seems to be kind of featuring every episode now that we do, John. But
Becoming a bit of a thing, isn't it?
Obviously, the Gerwen Price incident at the Grand Slam of Darts was obviously public knowledge, unprecedented fine, £21,500. Now, we saw James Wade at the World Championships against Saigo Asada celebrate quite passionately in front of Asada's face. Made a couple of ill-advised comments after the game, and there was obviously a bit of ambiguity about, what the punishment is for James Wade. The DRA have not released any information about this case. But obviously on Media Day for the O2 Premier League Finals night, James Wade spoke to Phil Hay from the Metro, and he actually admitted there he had been fined £5,000 by the Darts Regulation Authority over the incident. He put it down to obviously his ongoing mental health struggles that are very well publicised, and James has not shied away from those. Apparently, because Wade refused to see a psychiatrist and prove his well-documented issues, the DRA would not take him into account when obviously considering the case, and that's why he got given a £5,000 fine. So make of that what you will.
Neil, thoughts on that? Particularly the bit about not seeing a psychiatrist. I mean, treading a very fine line, the DRA, aren't they? In terms of...
I think they are. Firstly, I think he was, his celebrations were a bit too much at the World Championships, and the crowd in the subsequent. I think I was there that afternoon. He played in the courts.
No, Ryan Joyce.
Ryan Joyce. He the crowd showed their frustration with the way he'd behaved. But as you say, the DRA, it's quite well known that James has had his issues. So why does he then need to, see a psychiatrist to prove that? So it is a very sensitive area, the whole area of mental health, and I think they need to be careful.
Josh, we're also going back 5 months when this incident took place, and you note yourself there that the information has not even been published on the DRA's website yet, so we still don't have official word from them. Okay, we know what James has told us in the interview there, but we're going back a long time. Surely these kind of things can be dealt with in a little bit swifter time than 5 months, surely.
It's a lack of transparency. That's the frustrating element of it. Obviously, Gerwen Price, I think that took a while, but we became aware of the fine relatively quickly afterwards, and I think the PDC mentioned it was being referred straight away to the DRA. With this one, there's been radio silence, really, and we've only heard it from James himself, who said they fined me £5,000 because I refused to see a psychiatrist. So it seems a little bit unfair in my opinion, but hopefully when the whole facts get presented, we can make more of a judgment then.
Yeah, this DRA issue, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out for the rest of the year and indeed the next few years, really, because it does seem that they are getting tighter on things, they are clamping down on things, and more players seem to be falling foul of the DRA for a host of other things. Let's keep our eye on that. Josh, I saw you wrote an article on this on your website, www.joshisdartistry.com. We mentioned James Wade's mental health with regards to his DRA fine. Luke Humphries, he's been opening up, hasn't he, on his mental health struggles recently?
Yeah, very brave from Luke. He lost to James Wade in the European Tour event about probably a month ago now. Lost 6-5. Really good game. Missed a few match darts. And afterwards, he released a statement on social media just explaining the struggles he's contended with over the last few months. And I think everyone was taken aback, really. Those obviously who don't know him. I mean, you watch him on stage, and he's not arrogant, but he's quite a confident player.
Yeah.
He's a stage player. He seems to perform best. I mean, he was a contender at the Premier League and averaged over 100 against Gerwin Price. But he revealed he's been struggling with anxiety disorder. It's not just affected his darts, but obviously it's become more and more prominent. And he's now taken a little bit of a break from the game, I believe. He said he wouldn't at first, but he did pull out of the Players' Championship events over the weekend. And obviously he's going to go and see a psychologist and try and sort his issues out. And obviously we wish him all the very best in that.
Neil, I think last week it was World. I don't know if it was Men's Mental Health Week. Was it World Men's or just
Mental Health Awareness Week?
Mental Health Awareness. Yeah. You know, two stories here we're bringing you with regards to darts players and their mental health. It is a topic that is out there in media circles to be discussed at the moment.
Yeah, I think the awareness is certainly growing, and I think it's not only limited to darts. It's,
of course.
It's all areas of life, really. And the awareness and the acceptance is growing, and it needs to. And it's so difficult, when someone's physically injured or ill, you often can see that, but to actually know what's going on in someone's mind, whether they've got sleep deprivation, whether they've got a mental fog, it can hit any character. Someone that seems strong and confident on the surface. As I say, you can't see what's going on inside. So the fact that the awareness generally is growing and the acceptance levels have grown as the years gone on, because there used to be a little bit of a stigma, I think, attached to mental health now. So it's really good that it's in the public domain and things are improving.
And also, Neil, it can be. I don't want to compare the two too much, but darts is an isolated sport, isn't it? It's not a team game, unless obviously we're talking about the World Cup of darts. But predominantly you're travelling on your own. You may have your manager or you may have your partner coming with you sometimes, but it is a pretty isolated sport when you're performing as a one man band, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think if you suffer with mental health issues, whether it's anxiety or depression, one of the things that you may find yourself doing is trying to isolate yourself from others. But in fact, that can be a bit counterproductive as well. So being on your own and spending so much time on your own isn't always the best thing for you, as you say.
It's good to have that support network, isn't it? And when you've got people around you, people you can lean on and help you out, it's a good thing. Listen, we send our best regards to Luke and of course to James Wade, those two guys, and also to anyone else who's suffering any kind of mental health problems. There are obviously people you can get in contact with and get help and advice from. So don't suffer alone, and we wish you all the best. Josh, let's move on. You're going to bring us some news on Ros Bulmer, I believe, as well, yeah?
Yeah, happier news here. Ros Bulmer, BDO ladies player, made her World Championship debut at the Lakeside. She was undergoing chemotherapy at the time, but bravely played, and she has now beaten cancer for the second time.
Fantastic news.
So wonderful news, yep. And she's looking to get back on the circuit now, and I believe she's looking for financial help. Hopefully it's a costly thing.
Yeah.
So I think there is a crowdfunding page, I believe. Ros is back. It's www.gofundme.com/Ros is back. So if you want to make a donation to get Ros Bulmer back on her feet on the circuit, there you go.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, get online and donate to that. And a warm congratulations to Ros and continued success and of course continued health to Ros. Josh, our last episode, you featured an interview with John Lowe, and I see he's now received his MBE at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, brilliant news. We talked to John Lowe about a month ago now, and he was looking forward to going to the Palace, and he received his award. I think it was given by the Duke of Cambridge. So very good.
Excellent stuff. John Lowe, friend of the show.
Hi, this is John Lowe, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Neil, we've waxed lyrical last episode about John Lowe's exploits and a particular favourite of yours from the darting past, and you must have been very pleased to see John go up and collect his award.
Yeah, I was. An absolute legend of the game. Thoroughly deserving of such an achievement.
Yeah, congratulations to John from all of us on the JDP. Josh, any more news stories for us this week?
No, that is all for this episode, John.
Lovely job.
In the news.
This is Wayne Mardle, and you're listening
listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay, nearly at the end of the show, but before we go, let's see if there's any questions out there. This is Josh's Twitter chatter. Okay, Josh, we've had a couple of questions come in via social media. The first question comes in via Facebook from Terry Taylor. He asks, with Peter Wright's recent drop in form, is he in danger of slipping too far down the order of merit? Josh, Peter Wright's form, and do you see it causing problems for him long term?
It's an issue. I mean, Peter Wright's game's always been based on consistency, and he's lacking that consistency at the moment. He still produced the odd great performance here and there, played some decent games in the Premier League, but obviously we saw him reach a European Tour final, losing to Ian White, and he beat Michael van Gerwen along the way, so the game is still there, but the consistency is a massive issue, and I think he's currently ranked number 5 or 6 in the world now, projected to be number 8 at the World Championship, and given where he was, number 2, about 12 months ago, it's quite a steep decline for Peter.
But I think that's the issue. He was in such good form 12 to 24 months ago that he's now defending a lot of money and not playing consistently well enough to do that. So I think he is going to slip down.
I think it's the same old adage with Peter Wright. It's the issue with changing his darts. His quality is undeniable, but if he's going to keep tinkering with his darts every other week, he's never going to be able to build up that consistency and that confidence with a setup. So he needs to try and stick with a set of darts, and hopefully his form improves.
Yeah, hopefully Peter can rediscover the form that made him a household name in the world of darts, and we'll see him sort of recover from this blip and go from strength to strength to strength. Dion876 on Twitter, she's been in touch. She asks, with Gary Anderson missing so much of the Premier League season, do you think he will struggle to perform well in the later tournaments in the year, Josh?
Again, it's a difficult one to answer. I mean, he'll be lacking match sharpness, which is a big factor. If you're playing a big match at a World Championship, for example, against Michael van Gerwen, you haven't been tested over a longer format. Can you at the double at the key moment? It could be an issue. But Gary Anderson's got such a natural ability that he can go up there on any given day and average 105 and wipe the floor of anyone. I mean, we saw him at the UK Open. He hadn't played a single game in 2019 before the UK Open. He lost to Steve Beaton, but averaged 100. First competitive game. So the ability is unquestionable. He's got the game. Can he do it in the big moments against the top players without that sharpness? I'm not too sure.
Neil, for you, has Gary got enough ability in his locker to be able to perform at the highest level despite not playing consistently this year?
Yeah, ability is not in question, but it may work. It may work in his favour because he was showing signs of being tired. He's played through his back troubles, so we may find that he comes back refreshed, and I really hope he does, because there's nothing better than the top players in the world pushing each other, and I think we've got Rob Cross doing it, but not really pushing Van Gerwen as he needs to be. So we need Gary Anderson in there. We need him testing Michael van Gerwen. He's the one to do it, and I hope that this will have recharged his batteries and he comes back with a vengeance.
Okay, final question. LDub7749 on Twitter. They've been in touch. They ask, with the lack of information available surrounding the upcoming World Darts Trophy, are the BDO in danger of undoing all their recent good work? Josh, I've seen quite a few comments on social media. Oki Balba, a friend of the show, he's made some comments on this. I think, there's a lack of information with regards to the venue, tickets, ticket pricing, and what's actually going on with that. Are the BDO in danger of undoing all their good work?
I think it's got to be a concern. I mean, I know Oki's been doing a daily countdown of how many days left. I think there's less than 100 days now.
Yeah.
I think there's a few rumours floating around over the weekend that the tournament had been cancelled, and the BDO reaffirmed that was not the case. It will be going ahead. But people, like I say, the marketing aspect of it, I think it will be televised, I believe. They've got a TV deal, but they need to know where it is. People need to be able to buy tickets, make arrangements, make plans. The players need to know. They've got to sort out their calendar, what tournaments they're going to enter. So there needs to be more transparency. It's an issue, of course. There's less than 100 days now. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, or even sooner, hopefully, we get some news conclusively about that.
Neil, here on the JDP, we've been quite complimentary about the BDO, particularly with their coverage of the World Championships. We found it quite enjoyable, quite slick, but still every now and then we do get a couple of negative news stories coming from there.
We do, but Rome wasn't built in a day.
Absolutely.
We do like the BDO and what it represents and the players it produces. So hopefully it's a blip and things will get back to the improvement that we'd seen over recent months.
Okay, guys. Well, that's all the questions we've got for this show. Thanks for sending them in. We always enjoy answering your questions. You can get in contact with us via Twitter at Josh's Dartistry or on the Josh's Dartistry Facebook page. Josh, we still don't have an email address, do we?
We don't know. Working on it.
Working on it. We've only had a couple of months to sort that out. But get in contact via social media with your questions for the next show. Okay, chaps, that brings us neatly to the end of the show. Episode 16 in the bag, done and dusted. And Josh, another Premier League season done for the year.
I know, it goes around so quickly. I mean, I've been covering it for Sky the whole duration, 17 weeks of it, and I can't believe it's over already. But, not much time to waste before the World Cup of Darts and then the match play after that. So the darts keeps on coming, John.
Yeah, Neil, Premier League season may be over, but plenty for us to enjoy, isn't there, over the next few months?
Yeah, and as you said earlier, I think the World Cup of Darts, different format, freshens things up for not only us, the fans, but also the players. So some good darts to come.
Good. Well, once again, thanks for downloading the show. Do get in contact via social media. If you get a chance to go online, particularly you Apple users, if you can leave us a review on iTunes, 5 stars if at all possible, that would be greatly appreciated. Gentlemen, brings us to the end. Josh, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Neil, thank you.
Thank you, John.
And from me, a very goodbye.
Josh's Dartistry.